And what are you?
What I am not is a basic term of reality.
She smiles. Are you sure about that?
There may be a way to get her speaking about herself at some later juncture.
Don't sell yourself short, Rejoice. You are a basic term of my reality. What times are these?
These are unimportant times, Detective.
She puts her finger to her lips, then points at you.
You and I were born after the dust had settled. 1,000th of a second too late.
Too late for what?
For the big time.
Her eyes light up. There's a flash of teeth. What's the big time? Good fucking question.
The revolution.
Huh. And what is this revolution I keep hearing about?
It's quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to decide what's next, who gets shot in the head, and who gets the mineral rights. It's a real kerfuffle.
I'll bet. Would you say it was a bunch of apes duking it out?
Why, of course. We're talking Duke Out Central. Full swing intraspecies warfare.
And the apes? Were they evil?
No. I would say the apes were neutral.
She looks at you, her gaze sharp. Indeed? What does that mean, neutral? They're good apes, actually.
I don't know about that.
She turns east to the bombed-out buildings lining the waterfront, then shivers slightly. I mean, how could they not be? When all that is good springs forth from them. When good itself springs forth from them. And from nowhere else. If they aren't good, how could anything possibly be good? And if nothing could possibly be good, then what use is the concept in the first place?
No, the tiny apes are doing all they can to be better. It's not their fault.
Not their fault. Maybe it is their fault for defining themselves as evil. Who got shot in the head?
Those would be the communists. Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head during the World Revolution. But the communists, they all got shot in the head.
All of them? I don't know about that. They're like cockroaches. Some of them always survive.
She's not gloated. It's a relieved celebration.
Oh, and the anarchists too. They shot them well. So well, one forgets they even existed.
Yeah, that happens. I mean, obviously that's going to happen when they shack up with revolutions utterly contrary. I mean, it's really their own damn fault, though. They'd have been up against the wall, even if they succeeded. But that's life.
She likes the totality of it.
Ha. You could say they got totally shot in the head.
Indeed. They piled them in mass graves in Ozon. And, well, that's the last anyone heard of those people.
Did the communists and the anarchists shoot back? I would imagine so.
Did they ever? Before they got shot themselves, they shot 2 million people.
Huh. I was expecting higher, actually. They kinda got owned, didn't they? Truly a kerfuffle. That's certainly a word for it.
Yeah, it was a kerfuffle, all right.
The lieutenant mumbles from behind his notes.
Yes, the Insulindian deluge, they call it.
I had a deluge too. In my head. Point to your little head. Is it little? I mean, it looks kind of larger than Kim's, certainly. That might be a trigger perspective, though.
Yes, an acute thiamine deficiency can be exacerbated by alcoholism.
She blinks her green eyes.
Exacerbated means made worse.
Yes, I know what exacerbated means. Anyone else got shot in the head? On the opposing side?
Oh, lots of people. Even the king got shot in the head, or thrown beneath a horse. or drowned. Accounts differ. It was unceremonious. Just as well, he wasn't actually the king. Just the king's nephew.
She shakes her head. Then why'd you call him the king?
The real king abdicated and lived out a long and productive life as a venture capitalist in Grad.
Smart king.
Yes. King Guillaume had a nose for bad PR. He ran before it. What is the expression? Went down? Anyway, Gil got out alive and his nephew Frisell got shot in his place. Him and tens of thousands of his wonderfully fascist kingsmen. It was a wild time.
I'll bet. Who got the mineral rights?
The liberals got the mineral rights.
She looks up to the sky, then inland at the crumbling village. The wind blows.
And by mineral rights, I mean everything.
Okay, and by liberals you mean...
Liberals are usually middle-class people, Detective. Or the remaining gentry. The beneficiaries of the pre-revolutionary arrangement. Some were rich enough to stay with the Constitution, with monarchy. Big mistake. Others bet on the revolution. They were called the ultras, or ultra-liberals. They fared well.
I'll bet. How did the liberals win it all? Did everyone else just destroy themselves? And the liberals were the only ones remaining? Wouldn't surprise me.
They didn't win so much as survive.
Yeah.
We were the last ones standing when the war ended. Everyone else got shot in the head, remember?
Yeah, fair enough.
She's one of them. Of course.
Yeah, I guess. If everyone got shot, who was there to surrender to?
To foreign intervention. The coalition. Those people really took the mineral rights.
Wait, you just said the liberals already took everything.
The liberals took everything that wasn't nailed to the ground. The coalition took the ground.
She stomps her rubber-booted foot.
The ocean, the laws, and the people.
Nice. Who are the coalition, then?
The coalition of nations. Grad, Mesk, Vesper, Messina, Oranje, and Sur-le-Clay. The armed center of the world. They landed here and ended the revolution. It was the moralist thing to do.
There is bitterness in her voice, tempered with understanding. She is critical, but ultimately understands the cause.
Moralist?
The moralists believe in keeping everything exactly the way it is. They believe in mineral rights, and not shooting people in the head.
There might be a slight exaggeration. Wasn't there something about gradual change? But whatever.
At least not in the same manner and volume as the others do. They are the long-standing provisional rulers of Revachol now. The coalition government.
Yeah. After all, one could say that the definition of a government is the ones who get to shoot people in the head. Monopoly on violence and all that shit.
This is their zone of control. They embolden the RCM with crumbs of the same law they took. Technically speaking, you are a moralist.
The color of moralism is blue. The official motto of Moral Intern, or Moralist International, is a blue forget-me-not, a piece of grey sky. Unofficial. For a moment, there was hope.
I don't think I am a moralist, ma'am. I don't think I'm much of anything. Except myself, I guess. And even that's a toss-up sometimes.
Of course. Not easy to be moderate about head shooting in your line of work.
Huh? Apparently I'm better than some. Last I checked. When was this kerfuffle?
The turn of the century revolution?
She smiles mischievously.
Don't answer it. It's a trick question. The revolution began in '02 on the Isla of Grad, though by the end, nearly the whole world had gotten involved.
Who started it?
It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of Zarat, a particularly virulent prion disease,
Ugh.
which the authorities in Grad proved unable to contain. Then Marzolf came along and overthrew the government.
Prion disease, huh? Nasty stuff. Unusual for them to be so virulent, though. It's normally quite hard to contract such things. What did it do?
It made people overthrow their governments.
Wow, really?
Of course not. It was a highly infectious microorganism that destroyed brain tissue. The actual causes of the revolution were material. The pandemic only provided the spark.
Ah. Damn. For a moment I had hope that there was real weird shit going on here. Alas. Where did it spread from there?
From Revachol and Grad? Not far. The world managed to cauterize itself. Marzolf's government was overthrown in '08, and the coalition crushed the Revachol commune 2 years later. It was the end.
What came next?
Why? You and I, officer. Our lives in the zone of control.
She spreads her arms, raincoat flapping in the wind. And what lives they are, eh?
Something tells you her life and yours are not that similar. Maybe it's because she has a boat and you have that necktie? A pair of pants?
Yeah, well, yes. We do live... Well, yes. Obviously. Still more similar than... Well, I'd like to own a boat. That'd be nice. Our lives are very different from each other.
No doubt. But we share the same time and position on the planet's crust. That counts for more than you think.
True enough. What is the zone of control?
A city-state divided into free market zones under the everlasting interregnum of the Coalition of Nations. And you, of course, the citizens' militia.
Not much of an interregnum, then, eh?
The clatter of typewriter keys fills the main hall of the reappropriated silk mill. Precinct 41. Chad Tilbrook presses enter. Outside, Officer Elfboy Williams slams the door of an armored motor carriage.
The zone of control is the third incarnation of Revachol, after the failure of the suzerain and the commune.
What happened in the rest of the world?
Modernity. They developed the marvels of the inter-estuary communication. Telematic milieus, radiation, colored plastics. Meanwhile, in Revachol West, the aftermath continues for the 5th decade.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
No shit. Wait, you're saying it's been like this for 43 years? That's quite an interregnum.
Time flies.
What have we been doing all that time?
The 20s saw a decade of urban war, west of the river leveled, offshore platforms in flames. Still, it's regarded as an improvement on what came before. '08 to '19 was simply hell.
And after that?
The 30s? Things settled down in the 30s. Revachol East transformed itself into the world's largest tax haven, with the international community's blessing. For the first time in a long time, it seemed like things were going somewhere.
And then? For a moment, there was hope? Eh?
Then you happened. Your youth in the 30s.
Yup. I happened. I ruined it all.
All that untaxed income must have fueled the new. That can only mean one thing.
That's when they discovered disco, and everything went horribly wrong.
Yes, and quantitative easing. It was a market mirage, unfortunately. The 40s dispelled it. An Isola-wide hangover, you might say. So, here we are.
She curtsies. Indeed, here we are. Well, if I could recover from my oblivion-induced hangover, and I am, maybe Revachol can too.
Welcome to reality, baby.
Such as it is.
From the looks of it, the 50s haven't been much better for the zone of control. You can see it in her eyes. Days slipping away.
You don't seem to be thrilled.
I've no right to be dissatisfied. This shirt is Barbara Muscova, this raincoat is impervious to rain and is guaranteed for 100 years. My daughters will wear it.
She looks at the Eternite roofs and cinder blocks soaking in the sea air. Nonsense. Being dissatisfied is a fundamental, inalienable right. If you don't have the right to be dissatisfied, you have no rights.
We could have had so much more. Every one of us. If only we played it right.
Yeah. I'll bet. What would you have done differently?
Good question. What would you have done differently?
Good question, eh? Yeah, you could say that. One could say it's the question. What the fuck is going on with those sails? What the fuck? That's not right.
No, her first.
I asked you. Who are you in all of this?
And I asked you, past-less detective of the Citizens Militia, what insight has acute encephalopathy given to you?
Heh. Okay then. Fine then. What would I have done differently? What would I have done differently? Well, that's an easy question, isn't it? Kept going. That's what I would have done. I would have kept going. I would have killed more. 400 million, if that's what it took. And after all, why not? Why not keep going? Why not keep spinning the wheel? 40 million, 400 million, 4 billion, 4 duodecillion, everything that has ever lived and will ever live on this world or any other. Why not? Why not? Why not just keep going?
The cold runs down your spine as you say the words, like a small electric charge that seeks grounding.
I see. A tenth of humanity.
She's unfazed.
The key of history is in the lock. Keep turning at any cost.
No, not at any cost. At every cost. Until the middle class, the gentry, and the workers are all gone, and the age of man is over.
The wind stops, and for a moment, there's silence. The cold dissipates into your parietal lobe, like a dissolved bullet. All is quiet on the Martinez Inlet. A dog barks. A gunshot echoes off the walls of some distant building. A woman's voice.
The age of man is over.
Over. That's entropilism, the very height of late modernity. Evacuate this world. You may prove a truly modern man yet.
Opinions expressed here do not reflect the official position of the RCM.
And what is your official position, Lieutenant?
My position, ma'am? My parents got ripped to shreds in the revolution. I would have gone the same way. I was saved by being 2 years old. That's my position. The abattoir.
Good answer, Kim. Very good answer.
Understandable.
That's enough about the times.
They are what they are. Who knows? An afterbloom may yet come. Anyway, enough sentimentality. Is there anything else you want to know?
Now's your chance. Ask her who she is. She won't get out this time.
Seriously, I want to know what you are.
She won't maneuver her way out of this one.
Hopefully, anyway.
I am the vilest of the vile.
She says with a sudden flash of teeth.
A traitor. A devourer of nations and infants.
Are you now? You can devour my nation anytime.
I am an ultra.
She raises the corner of her mouth, smirking, revealing a canine.
Hot. Anyway. Dios mio! Draw across. A liberal.
Yes. I am the nether creature of the Forbidden Swamp. I pushed the king under a shit wagon and betrayed the revolution. My kind surrendered the nation to financial colonists. Perhaps you thought we'd gone extinct. After all, no sane person identifies as an ultra anymore. Not in broad daylight. Tell me, now that I've uncoiled myself, are you repulsed?
Joycey girl. You can be the nether creature of my forbidden swamp any day. Uncoiled yourself. Honestly, snakes get a bad rap.
In her green eyes, you see a mixture of truth and self-satire. Decades of guilt and pride.
I don't care. I forgive you. I forgive you, but only because you're charming. Yeah, of course. I could never stay mad at that handsome visage.
A devil, who being of great charm and guile, sneaketh into the homes of the godly.
That dialect is ubi sunt. You recognize it's a quote from somewhere. A play written way back in the Franco-Nigerian century.
And persuades them to addict themselves to his service.
Ah, maybe you remember more than you let on,
She gives you a coy little smile.
despite whatever brain damage the alcohol may have inflicted.
I remember more than I even know. Nod. Devil woman. Aren't they all?
I'm afraid you'll find that every woman is a devil woman, detective. There are only aesthetic differences between one and the other.
Indeed. The Revacholian people are tired of women.
When the dust settled, the liberals were the only ones left to clean up the mess. By virtue of their survival, they were handed enormous power to shape the future.
She turns her gaze to the Delta.
This was all our last generation managed.
Would you have done something differently? I mean, obviously.
With due respect to our overlords, the eternal caretaker government that keeps Martinez as a monument to the efficacy of its artillery.
While a gentle wind sweeps the streets in the rebuilt east, light drizzle washing it clean, lights go up and motor carriages circulate the tracks.
Indeed. And all of these people that have to live in that monument, they can get stuffed, eh?
I would not have relinquished sovereignty to the coalition. Not here in Martinez. And not in the Stella Maris or Delta Beachheads either. If not for my own sake.
She realizes her small, cold fists are clenched. She loosens them.
Then for my daughters. We had an obligation to defend our sovereignty. We should have burned the whole Isla down rather than let them have it.
Maybe we should have. Burned the whole Isla down, I mean.
Dark orange flames reflect in her green eyes. An oil fire on the ocean.
You're a patriot?
Yes, I suppose I am. But I wouldn't be a patriot anywhere but here.
Is that right?
Seditious talk, ma'am.
Lieutenant puts on his notes and gives her a look. You're a smart woman.
Perhaps. My intellectual vanity will be my undoing.
You're no dummy yourself.
So am I. No, or intellectual vanity will be my undoing.
And the crown on your head as you lay in the casket.
Yeah, that's a comfort. You have daughters?
Yes. Whatever else I am. I'm also a mother. And a wife.
Darn.
Now, shall we return to reality?
Guess I missed my shot then. Shame. What is this acute encephalopathy?
It's a neurological disorder caused by a lack of vitamin B in the brain. Symptoms include a retrograde amnesia. It's quite serious. You should get yourself checked out.
Hey, I've got plenty of vitamin B. Assuming the B stands for, broke. Or perhaps brain.
She conveys it in short, cold bursts, trying not to invest too deeply in the condition of this doomed detective, in case he goes down later, souring the entire portfolio.
I know you've got a lot riding on me. I won't let you down.
It's not just me, Detective. All of Martinez has placed its chips on your success. I pray we've all bet wisely.
What causes encephalopathy? Well, lack of vitamin B, but I guess that's the... But I guess you're asking what causes that.
Well, it's either bariatric surgery or long-term alcohol use.
Oh, it's probably from surgery then.
That seems unlikely.
Yes, and perform autoerotic asphyxiation on yourself with your funny necktie out in the open somewhere.
What? That came right the fuck out of nowhere. Okay. What is this? Spread your hands.
A bird? A sphenicid? A flightless bird of the polar regions?
Keep guessing.
Some sort of krill hunter? No, wait. You're an ancient ruin. A symbol of hubris and decay. Half submerged in some salty sea.
What, really?
Of course you're not, my dear. I'm just terrible at guessing games.
Anyway, I meant, what is this place here?
This place is an unmarked micro-settlement on the coast of Martinez.
She gestures toward a collection of cinder block dwellings, covered by a highly carcinogenic roofing material.
It's lovely, really. I'm thinking of buying it.
Really?
Yes, so I can spite Everard and spoil his plans for this place. I'm a petty person, I admit.
That's the best reason to do anything. I just realized those two things of ice are clipping into each other really weirdly. And those two. Why is that like that? Anyway. Well, I mean...
Don't worry. I'll never get around to it. The information you pass to me will remain confidential. Let's get back to reality, shall we?
Maybe you should buy this place. Maybe revitalize it somehow. That'd be nice. What is... reach for something fundamental? Swear if I fail this.
What is
Okay.
all of this? The scent, the sound, the air.
What world is this?
What world? The only one, I suppose. The world of matter. And its pale antipode.
The camera of her mind glides over the surface of the water.
What do you see?
Great bodies of water. Forest-covered surfaces. Clusters of light where the cities lie. You've seen the montage. We all have. This world is enough.
I guess it has to be.
It must be. This is the greatest and the kindest arrangement the atoms had in them.
Oh. I guess so. It's the best of all possible worlds. Because it's the only possible world. Eh?
A frisson lifts the hair on the back of your arm. Wind sweeps the surface of the bay.
The best of all possible worlds. It could never have been formed any other way.
Indeed. There is a term of endearment they coined for it. In the DeLorean century, when humanity was high on this world, discovering more and more of it. These archipelagos included.
What is it?
Elysium.
Ha! Funny. Wait, is this the one with the evil apes?
Not in this case, no. That sounds more like something the Mesk petrofascists might say.
Her gaze wanders. Petrofascists?
The Confederate Republic of Mesk, the world's largest state by territory, has fallen into an especially nihilistic strain of nationalism lately.
It isn't enough to call us animals. Even animals aren't animals.
Is that right? I'm not sure what you mean by that, but I think I agree. What are animals, then?
They're like you and I suppose. Living organisms don't identify with abstractions. Elysium is for particular beings.
Indeed. Elysium. The world needs a term of endearment.
It does. There are those who would call it hell.
What is hell?
A term of hatred that originates, like many such things, with the Mesk petrofascists.
I don't feel like I have got the whole picture yet.
Oh, you want a picture of the world? There is no complete set yet, dear. They're having some trouble reaching orbit.
How come?
Great things are difficult to achieve. For now, we're viewing the world from the inside, sideways.
Inside sideways. What shape is this world then?
We used to think it was a sphere, but that is beginning to look less and less likely by the day. You wouldn't know it from the tabloids, but the ORG nations have been launching weather balloons into the lower ionosphere since the 30s.
ORG, Occident Revachol Grad.
There's a steadily increasing trickle of images. Between the big three scientific contributors, they're piecing together a dark grey corona.
A dark gray corona?
Yes. Pale covers 72% of the surface. There are grey flares and prominences, even arcs above entire isolas. The images are blurry, but if there was a sphere in there, it certainly looks like it fractured a long time ago.
Fucking... What the fuck do you mean what the fuck? What the fuck do you mean it fractured? Jesus shittin' Christ. What do you mean it fractured?
A cold fear seeps into you.
Oh my god. Wait. What the hell are you telling me?
You seem to be spooked. Please don't be.
Her voice becomes homely, calm. She lets the moment pass. The pale? And what do you mean, corona?
They say there is a rarefied envelope of matter surrounding the darkened disk of our planet. That is, if we are still living on a planet. Or, to speak more plainly, imagine vast swathes of land disrupted by nothingness.
What the fuck is going on here?
I am sorry, dear. It must sound quite terrifying through the acute encephalopathy. Even scientific positivism isn't entirely convinced about what we're dealing with here.
Yeah, that sounds like straight out of a fucking fantasy novel or Magic the Gathering.
But this is one of the greatest questions of our time. Maybe when they get the complete set together, it will jolt us out of our rut, bring us together, however naive it may sound.
A fractured corona doesn't feel like it's gonna bring anyone together.
You have misimagined it. I don't have the power to convey to you the effect and geometry of the images that depict our world from below low orbit. It's like the crowning of the world. It's insane. Very disco. You'd love it.
Would I? Well, if you say it's disco.
See? Everyone finds something worth holding on to in this world, however wasted its opportunities.
Then that's alright then.
The cold seeps into you. The air is heavy with 80% humidity.
Eesh.
Suddenly, you're conscious of yourself standing there, on whatever this all is. Your arms hang down by your sides. The lieutenant observes you both, silently. He adjusts his glasses.
You said pale. What is pale?
The Pale is not, technically speaking, part of reality.
The fuck's that supposed to mean? Not part of reality.
Yes. Also, I think we've had enough excitement for today. We do have a case to attend to.
His voice is low, but firm. All she can say is,
Of course, Lieutenant. Let's try something else.
Clearly it is part of reality, since it's... Unless you're saying it doesn't actually fucking exist. Like, what do you mean it's not part of reality?
Ma'am, remember you are dealing with a very sensitive and impressionable police officer who is still recovering from a recent medical episode.
Shut up, Kim.
The Lieutenant's right. Let's change topics. What do you want to know? Anything.
Evidently not anything.
you could sneak back later when the lieutenant is not here. Unless you can convince him to step aside.
Oh, volition. 9. Ask for Kim to step away while you discuss the Pale. That's interesting. That's it. Kim trusts you. Huh. Now how'd I inspire that, I wonder? Okay then. With volition at fucking 9, I don't think I even need that +1.
Good idea. Just ask him. He won't make a scene.
Kim, can I talk to the ma'am alone for a second?
Fine.
He steps away with his notes. Alright. And don't be phasing through any walls or floating away or anything like that, alright? Not again. Be good.
See? What can he do? You're a grown man.
Exactly. Now, what is the Pale?
Are you sure you're sure? Your colleague seemed adamant.
Yes. I'm sure that I'm sure that I'm sure. What is the Pale?
Okay. The Pale is the most dominant geological feature of the world, Detective. The separative tissue between the islas. It is the inter-islary mass.
Wait, and what is an isla?
Isla is a Messinian word for a continent of matter, enveloped on all sides by the Pale. Also, isolation, or landmass. We used to believe there was only one. In the last 4 centuries, we have discovered 7.
7. What a number.
Muindi, Seol, Samara, Ilmara, Grad, Katla, and this, Insulinde.
And Insulinde is?
An oceanic isla. It comprises mostly of water. Muindi is the largest, Katla the coldest, Insulinde the bluest. What can I say? Each is perishing and dear.
Huh. Alright. A continent of matter surrounded by a sea of pale. Okay. And what is the pale like?
Achromatic, odorless, featureless. The pale is the enemy of matter and life. It is not like any other, or anything in the world. It is the transition state of being into nothingness.
Is it here?
No, detective. We're safe. It begins there, 6,000 kilometers to the north, and even more to the south, east, and west. You are in the middle of the Isla.
As your gaze instinctively turns north, a small black pit opens up in your stomach.
6,000 kilometers from the end of the world?
Yes. That is enough. Many cities are built much closer.
And point north. There?
An uproar of matter, darling. Rising into the pale. Rolling. Evaporating even. A great vision. The area of transition between the world and the pale is called porch collapse. Imagine a grey coronal mist. Cold vapor marked by spores of an opportunistic microorganism. A mold that's adapted to grow at the edge of the unrest. It's the most disco thing you will ever see.
I guess so. What are its physical qualities, then?
It's difficult to describe, or even measure. Something whose fundamental property is the suspension of properties. Physical, epistemological, linguistic.
Like some kind of void of everything? From matter to even the conceptual? Darker, yet darker.
The further into pale you travel, the steeper the degree of suspension. Right down to the mathematical. Numbers stop working.
What?
No one has yet passed the number barrier. It may be impossible.
What does that even mean, numbers stop working? This all seems very fantasy, and I mean that in a derogatory way. If we're surrounded by pale, how do you get from Isla to Isla?
Oh, it is so difficult for us.
Her lungs deflate, her words sound like a sigh.
A squall of birds. Hardware operating in the harbor. Firm. Self-evident.
It is possible to force dimensions on the pale. In modern times, we can even compress its latitude, bouncing radio waves from one end to the other, shortening the path.
Neat. Force dimensions on the pale. Dimensions here used in the actual definition of that word, i.e., a measurable extent of some kind. The variables needed to uniquely identify a point. As opposed to the more modern definition, which is some sort of nonsensical bullshit about fucking, when people talk about things like traveling through dimensions. You always travel through dimensions. All travel is through dimensions. Anyway.
But it is still hard for humans to navigate the pale without getting lost. Or having our minds damaged.
The pale can damage the mind? Evidently, if it can damage the world itself, obviously it can damage the mind.
Extensively.
How?
Some say the damage stems from extreme sensory deprivation. Others argue that Pale somehow consists of past information that's degrading, that it's rarefied past, not rarefied matter.
Whatever the fuck that means.
They call it the blend over of the self. The Pale does not only suspend the laws of physics, but also the laws of psychology, maybe history even. The human mind becomes over-radiated by past.
Okay. Sure. That all doesn't sound like nonsense in the slightest. Laws of history.
Who says and who argues?
Who says and who argues?
The logical positivists say, the dialectical materialists argue.
What does this over-radiation feel like?
It feels terrible. Absolutely terrible. International standards strictly limit civilian travelers to 6 days of Pale exposure per year.
It's more for her. Way more.
You're not a civilian passenger?
No, Lieutenant Dubois. I'm entreprenetic business class. I'm cleared and trained for 22 days of Pale transit annually.
And I'm sure you keep to that limit, of course.
Perhaps that explains her strange pining after the revolution. Some degraded early memories.
I'm not sure I agree with you that it's strange, actually. Nor that it needs such an explanation.
Someone else you've met may have been exposed as well. The strange grey-haired woman in her lorry.
Are you over-radiated?
Up to my gills, officer.
Hang on.
Extend.
Do lorry drivers pass the Pale?
Yes. Carried in the hulls of airships. It's a horrific job. Automation will abolish it soon.
You should ask the Pale driver about this. See what she says.
Maybe.
That poor woman must have stories to tell, like you wouldn't imagine.
And I already...
She's looking out toward the sea. What at? It's hard to say. She's over-radiated. And then some.
What is entreprenetic?
Entreprenetics is the scientific study of the Pale, or a recent iteration of it by way of Grad. The study of the Pale reaches back 6,000 years. The Pericarnassians called it the Western Plain.
They had not traveled the entire circumference of the Pericarnassian Super E Solar. It was not merely in the west, it was everywhere, even then, surrounding them.
Did they cross it? The Western Plain?
There are signs of pretermodern crossings. Successful navigation of the Pale relies not just on technical know-how, but intensive psychological preparation. Some of these tactics have been known for thousands of years.
What has entreprenetics changed then?
Nothing. We remain powerless before the Pale. The only real advance in Pale transit is the speed with which an aerostatic craft can pierce it. Less exposure leads to less effects later.
Aerostatic craft?
Hybrid airships, Detective. Conventional rotors or jet engines no longer add velocity after the point of reference for motion is suspended, once you've crossed from near Pale to far Pale. In essence, we throw them in and they come out the other end. If we throw them precisely.
If we do not?
Then they don't.
Gone, like a skipping stone beneath the surface.
How much Pale is there compared to the world?
The Pale outweighs reality 2 to 1. There is more Pale than there is matter, and the ratio is slipping.
Slipping how? To our detriment, or...?
What do you think, Detective?
It's shrinking. There's more and more of the world.
Oh no, Detective.
Ah.
It's not. One of the few measurable effects of the Pale is that it is expanding at an unknown rate. An intuitive conclusion of that development is that one day the Pale will cover everything. But this sort of talk is mostly left to extremists. Most people, and indeed most private and government sector organizations, Entire civilizations and religions even find handy ways to ignore or downplay that knowledge. I suggest you do the same.
Off we go. You see the hanged man's mouth open.
Off we go into the wild pale yonder.
One and all. They say pale is death, but for the universe.
Why should we just leave, and the world get left behind?
So all around us, the world is just kinda being eaten up by this pale. All around. But what about below and above? Is there pale there too? Now I really wish I did own a boat. This sounds like a great setting for a Sunless Sea style game. I don't really know what the fuck any of this means, to be honest. Let's return to reality, please.
Yes, sweet reality.
She stomps her foot.
But before we do, tell me, Detective, is this the first time you're hearing this? Do you really not remember anything?
I'm getting a sense of who I am, but no, I didn't know this.
Beyond curious. Tell me, what do you think of the Pale?
Now there's a fucking question. Who am I to think anything of it? Her eyes tense. Crow's feet radiate from them. She observes you, your bloodshot eyes and swollen face.
You really didn't know. This does not spell good for the investigation, Detective. If you don't know even this, then...
She stops mid-sentence. This investigation will be my masterpiece. The one they remember me by. I promise.
I hope so. I truly do. If I may suggest, hold on to your colleague, Kitsuragi. I ran a check on him and he is very competent. In the meanwhile...
Some of that assurance is meant for herself, as much as it's meant for you. She must have a lot on the line here.
Indeed.
You have me. I will assist you in any way I can, even if we have to do it one basic term at a time.
She gives you a slight bow. You know, except for actually telling me about the... Whatever.
Good. You have not passed out from it. Perhaps I worried for nothing. Are we still on the reality lowdown, or should we do actual police work now?
You needn't have worried, Kim. I'm made of sterner stuff than that.
But I did. Anyway.
He looks around, a little uncomfortable now.
Damn it, you're a grown man, the lieutenant thinks. Shouldn't have gotten protective hair.
Indeed. Right. Let's get to work, Lieutenant.
Good luck, detectives.
She nods you goodbye. Well, that was... Well, that certainly was. Oh, God. I got 2 levels. I got 2 level ups out of that. Goddamn. Anyway. Glad to know all that shit is going on in the background while we're running around here solving a murder mystery. That's great. That's wonderful. Anyway, that was fucking exhausting, and... Anyway, I'm fucking tired. I'm gonna end the video here. So, until next time, I have been Joe Bob, and I'm very peeved. And remember, dislike the video, unsubscribe if you're for some reason subscribed, and leave a nasty comment in the comment section down below. Fuck you all so much for watching, and so long, suckers.
You're gonna be okay, kid.